finding the time to join the webinar we prepared for you. Today we will speak about developing modules for XCart 5 on the example of module news management. This module will be written here and now while the webinar is on air. After the webinar, there will be questions and answers session. So if you have any questions, please do send them to email alliance@x-cart.com. I will voice them and our presenter, Tony, will give his answers. Now let me please introduce the speaker. Tony started his career as a support engineer, then he went on to creating modules for XCart 4. Abandoned cart reminder is one of the best examples, and by the way, it proves its efficiency according to posts in XCart community forum. But let's return to Tony. Tony is a community manager nowadays, and it looks like he found himself here. Like Chip and Dale, the Rescue Rangers, he stretches his helping hand and opens his loving arms to those merchants, developers, and partners who only start developing modules and skins for XCart 5 and face any difficulties. Tony also writes articles for XCart 5 knowledge base, and in a sense, he himself is a knowledge base. Tony, your moment of glory, so let's start.
Hi guys, this is Tony here, and today we are going to talk a little bit about XCart 5 development process. And I want to start with a basic idea of why we are bringing webinar today, why we even need webinar for developers. I prepared a short presentation in order to illustrate my idea. So, first thing is that we want XCart 5 to be developer friendly. It means that we want that XCart 5, that developers will like XCart 5 and they will use it for their projects. And in order to accomplish it, we need to establish a dialogue with developers, and webinar is a good way to start this dialogue. Essentially, we want our developers to talk to us, to tell us what we are doing wrong, what we are doing good, so we can correct our plans and ship the product developers will like. Basically, it was the main idea why we are releasing XCart 5, why we are trying to bring new product compared to XCart 4. As you all know, XCart 4 is a great product for developers because of its because of its easiness. You can easily customize XCart 4, but it pays the price that that XCart 4 currently has several problems, and we are bringing XCart 5 in order to solve these problems. So now I'm going to talk a bit about why XCart 4 is good for developers. First off, XCart 4 is great because you can easily write the code. But the main problem is that if you start writing something very complex, you need to duplicate a lot of code. In that sense, XCart 5 is OOP-based software, so you can write less code, and it means that you can write your code faster. The second problem is if you write your mod for one client, then it's quite hard to transfer this model to another one. You need to deal with patches, some complex solutions in order to just transfer the mod. XCart 5 brings an idea that each mod must be a separate module. It should be presented as a module, as a completely new entity, and you can easily transfer one mod from one store to many another ones. The next problem is if you wrote the complete set of custom functionality for a client, and this client finds that new version of XCart 4 has some feature that they need, or they face some bug into the core, and you need to upgrade this store, Then XCart 4 will have many problems because it's quite difficult to upgrade the XCart 4 store and do not break your code. XCart 5 solves this problem because upgrades are really seamless in XCart 4. You just click a button and the whole magic will happen. Final point here, it's not related to web agencies who create complete projects based on XCart, but it's related to model writers, as I was myself. In this problem is that you have to create your own website in order to sell mods to XCart merchants. It means that you have to care about this place, and to be honest, merchants, they may not know about your website. They may not find your mods, and potentially, so XCart 5 brings a single marketplace, which is included right into the admin area, and every single merchant will have access to your mods if you publish it. So it will bring more potential clients to you. So where we were, okay, we were creating the empty model by micro. As I think I'll just repeat it in case the picture ended up while I was showing it. So you are pointing at so you are calling create module script and passing parameters as module, and which is where you are specifying that Tony is your developer ID and news is the name of the module, and then you are passing version parameter, which is 0.50, because this is the core version of my XCart. Yes. After that, okay. Since this new module, just to show you what's the result. So once I'm calling this macro, the SDK creates this file, Tony new module main PHP, and you can see it right there. New model main PHP. This folder was created entirely by this macro. Okay, let's move on. The next thing to do is to create the whole entity, this news object, and for this we are creating a news PHP file in the module folder inside your module. So my module is Tony News, and I'm creating a new folder there called model, and model, and then new file called news PHP. With the following content. I'll explain what all this code means. So this is pretty simple. PHP open tag, then namespace, pretty easy, and then we specify columns, the properties of news entity. First it's ID, then it's property called enabled, which is pretty obvious whether news is enabled or not, news title and news body. Then we are adding comments. First we are adding comments. Important thing, all comments has to be in php.comments format. Otherwise it will not work. So php.doc, it means that you first first you put slash and then 2 stars, and then you can write your comment. and you end the comment with star and 1/. First comment means that this is entity, that this is a model, and it must be placed into the database. The first comment specifies what table it's going to be in. It means that you will not have to create MySQL database, MySQL table yourself. It will be created automatically. Then we specify some details of the properties. First, ID field, we are specifying that this is ID and it must be generated automatically. And then we are specifying that this type is integer. The field enabled, it can be true or false, so this is Boolean. Title is a text, this is a string, and the max length 255 characters. And body must be, can be anything you want, it's text with no limitations. If we, and we save the result. If we rebuild cache right at the moment, we will not see any changes because no pages were edited or added, so we are moving to the next step and creating a wrapper for news. Wrapper is basically, this is an object, which means that news can be there can be a multitude of news. So, for instance, if we have a product, we can have many products, and this means that there is a wrapper, some kind of storage of products. And we need, since we can have multiple news, it means that we need to create wrapper for news model. For that, we are creating a news PHP file in the model wrapper folder inside your model. So model folder wrapper, and we are adding new file there called news PHP with the content. As you can see, this code is quite scary. It's there is a lot of code, and but you shouldn't worry about it because this is typical wrapper file. To be honest, I simply copy it from the module simple CMS, and this code simply implement search function, and the rest of functions just support this main search function. I will not talk more about it because this is not really interesting. This is typical wrapper code. And the next thing to do is to create some page in admin area so we could touch it, so we can play with it. And we are creating a page in admin area via micro as well. So I'm going to my console. And I'm calling script called create page PHP. Then I'm passing parameters as model tone in use, nothing interesting. Target equal news. It means that our page will be available. So if we open pages, our page will be available at target equal news. Interface admin, it means that it will be available in admin area, and this menu parameter, which means that it will be included in the content menu. So I'm writing this macro, and it creates 4 files. Controller for this page. Controller needs, in order to XCart 5 knows about this page. So XCart 5 will know that it can handle it. Next is this is a view page admin use file. This file is responsible for viewer of this page. The main purpose of it is to point it to the right template, which is also created as skins admin modules tone in use page news body detail. And the final script is declaration of admin top menu class. It's in the view menu admin top menu PHP file, and we'll look at it in more details at the moment. So I'm going main menu admin top menu. Basically, we don't need news wrapper. This is what I'm talking about. This class tells that we should include our this news page with title news into the content menu. It means that after we rebuild the cache, it will be available in this menu. There will be a new point called news, and it will go to the page admin.php equal question mark target equal news. But the main problem here is that content menu is not default one, so we need to a little bit change the find items function with this code. So if you look at this code, you can see that it basically checks whether this menu exists, and if it does, then we will include our new item there. But it may not exist, and in this case, your model will not work. So we are placing another code there, and it checks whether there is a menu called content, and if it's not, then we create it. And then we can safely put a new item there. Saving it here. If we rebuild cache right at the moment, we will see new menu entity here, and it will go to the blank page because we haven't decided what's going to be displayed there. And what we want to display there is the list of news. Simply put, we need to take all news we have and display their in format like this. And this part is called items list. Items list basically, items list is a special widget which is used to display many entities at one time. And we are going to create an items list widget and then put it into our page we've just created. In order to create items list, we are creating a folder view items list model, because we are creating items list for a model, FormModelNews, and we are creating file news PHP there. View. This model. And we are creating news PHP file there with the following content explaining what all this means. So what this code means. First, we are defining what columns is going to be displayed in this items list. As you can see here, there are two columns, page name and page URL. We are going to display only one column, news title. So we are simply adding only one element here. And then we are specifying that column class is form field inline input text. It means that we will be able to edit title right from here once we finish the job. Then we are specifying that this text will be news title and order by. You may ask why we need this one. This function. It means that news title will be able, you will be able to translate this value, and admin will see this language variable in translations menu. Then we are pointing the items list to the model we've created, and basically we are saying that This items list will show news. Then we are specifying several utility methods. First is switchable, which will add this button. Since our model has enabled field, it will automatically create this button, and you will be able to enable and disable it. IsRemoved method means that we will add this bucket icon, and we'll be able to delete news from this list. IsCreation method means that we will add create button here, and create inline top means that this button will be right there. I mean at the top of the items list. And getCreateURL method defines where to go if you click these buttons. So if we click new page, we will go to target equal page. In our case, if you click create button, you will go to page admin PHP target equal news edit. So we've created items list, and now we need to put it to the page we've created. And we are going to the template we've already created. It's modules. It's admin, and modules, Tony, news, page, news, body TPL. As you can see, it's blank. We have a bunch of comments only there. And how to adding item list widget is really simple. You just specifying widget and class of this items list. This is path to this item list. One problem here is that if we create a rebuild cache right now, it will mean that a news page will be created, and we will see items list similar to this, but Save Changes button will not be there. And it's caused by the fact that sometimes you do not need form around your items list. For instance, in your storefront, you've got a bunch of items lists. For instance, categories. This is an item list, but we don't need form there. And in order to create a form, we need to create an object view form items list news table. So we are going to our editor, news view, over form items list news. And we are creating table out there with the following content. As you can see, this class is pretty simple because form is simple. The form will be simple as well. We are defining that if we create a form, its target will be news. It means that if we submit it, it will go to news controller and to page admin PHP target equal news. And the default action for submitting the form will be updated. We created it, and now we are wrapping up our widget of items list in the body TPL. So we are wrapping it with widget of this form. It will be like this. And we will have page similar to this, and we will have Save Changes button. But if we submit our form, our controller is not ready for this. Our controller does not know what to do with the data submitted. So we need to to adjust our controller for news targets just a little bit so it can handle this items list. And for that, we are just adding one single method to our controller. Controller admin use PHP. So we're adding it, and this function actually means that if our controller get a request with action equal update, it will run this code. This code is very easy. We take our items list and update it according to data we've got. Basically, if we rebuild cache at the moment, we will got the page similar to this. We will have save changes button, and it will work. It will update the list, but the list will be empty because we don't have any news at the moment. But our create page, this button will not work because it will go to the page news edit, and it just doesn't exist. So we need to create this page, and we are using macro as well as we did before. We creating macro. It's really similar to what we've already called, with one exception. We are not passing menu parameter because we don't need to include this page into any menu. So we are calling this macro, and it creates 3 files exactly the same as we did with the news page. And in order to show you this template news edit body will actually work, so it will not be just one page, I'm just going to edit it a little bit and add some full world text. World. And now we are ready to rebuild the cache and see what it will bring us. Now I'm going to ask Ksenia to ask some questions. If you've got any, sending at alliance@xcart.com while cache is rebuilding. Ksenia?
Tony, the first question is here in the chat from Mihai and Elver. I'm sorry if I pronounced the names incorrectly, but the guys are asking whether this presentation will be available for downloading or not. Include Google Docs, Tony.
Yeah, sure. I can share it after the webinar is over. I'll just post a link to it, and there is no problem. I'll just make it available for everyone to read, and I'll post it into the comments to the blog post of the webinar. Oh, I can do it right now. For the guy who asked, it's really easy.
Tony, I suppose it's better to share it after the webinar, because right now we have several more questions.
Yeah, sure.
From Terry Saunders, who represents BCSE Engineering, a company which creates modules for XCart 4. So hello, Kerry. The first question is, when creating mods, you have to rebuild the cache every time you make a PHP change or edit the cache to PHP copy directly. Will you be creating a way to turn the caching off during development?
The main problem here is that we have to rebuild cache in order to make these PHP changes work. In that sense, unfortunately, no, you cannot just do your development process without cache rebuilding, because otherwise it will not be. Okay, I'll explain it in a different way. When you are coding your module, you are basically creating some code in the classes folder, and then cache rebuild process builds the PHP code which will actually be run. Unless you run rebuild cache process, no actual PHP code will be run actually. So you have to do it. Maybe this is a type of question I need to prepare a thorough answer for, and it will be better if I write it down instead of just talking. Okay, as I see, the cache rebuilding process is over, and we can check the results, and then we can get back to our questions and answers. And do not forget to send it at alliance@xcart.com. So we are checking the results. First, as you can see, news menu is added into the content menu. If we click at it, we've got the items list, but it's pretty empty because we don't have any news defined. There is a create news button, and lets us to hello world page, as I remember, and there is a save changes button. The second step is to create this news edit page. So we can create news on it. We need to specify title of the news here. Then we need to specify news body, and we need a button to save the result. The page is already created, and how it can be achieved. This page should contain the model viewer. Simply saying it similar to items list. This is a viewer class, but its purpose to update only single model, not a bunch of models, how it works in items list. So we are creating a class called ViewModelNews. So it means we're doing here. It's logical. You just going to create viewer for model, so you are creating model folder, and since we are creating it for new subject, we are creating it news PHP. I'll do the following. Okay. As you can see, the first thing is the variable schema default. This variable is used to define what fields are going to be displayed on this page. For instance, we don't need to update ID or enable disabled field of our model, so we are putting only two fields here, title, and we are specifying what form field will be used for display of this field. It means that it will be input text. In case of body, we need a little bit more complex field. It must be text area, because there will be a lot of text, and it must be advanced in order to use what you see is what you get editor. Besides that, we are specifying that all fields are required. You cannot omit them, and we are specifying what labels should be displayed near each field. So, for instance, if we look at pages and create new page, we can see a name is label, and this field is defined by form field input text. So we need to create something similar. Besides that, we are specifying what data needs to be assigned to the current viewer. Simply saying, if we pass ID parameter, it means that we assume that this news already exists. and we are trying to find it. And if ID is not passed, we are assuming that this news will be new. And in this case, we are returning null to the model, and then we are checking if this is real news, then we will show the actual title and body of the news. If not, then we are creating a new object called with class news model news. Finally, we are specifying in this class getFormClass. This is similar to form class for items list, but it's specified right into the model viewer, and this class we will have to create. It will be a simple one. I'll show you. And the final method is getFormButtons, which means how many buttons and how many buttons we need to display in this on this page, and what action they need to submit. So we need only one button. It will be update, and it will send action equal update to our form. So now we need to create this class. This is form class for our model viewer. And we are creating ViewModelNews. This is pretty easy. Form model view form model. Yeah, exactly. Model and then news page. Transfer it here. Yeah. We don't need this. Main is done. Main page is not needed. With the following content. This form class is kind of the same as we created for items list, as you can see. Both methods are kind of the same, getDefaultTarget and getDefaultAction, and the same getDefaultTarget and getDefaultAction. It means that if we submit this form, it will go to this controller, target equal news. And if we if we submit this form with just pressing enter, it will place action as update. So we are done here. And since we created viewer for model display, we need to put it into our template. And we are going to our template. Just go to the top. The world we don't need it, and we are putting it here. Use booted template tag means that the page we will be displaying will go to the whole this area. We don't need any menus here or there. It will take all the place. So if we build cache at the moment, we will see fields title and body, and we will see a button update. But our controller is not ready to receive data, so we have to update it. So we are editing. This is wrong. Not be edit PHP, and we are going to edit our controller. The following. I'll explain this code. First, our variable params defines what parameters our controller can accept. It target and ID. Then we are pointing our controller to form class. It This function is used in doActionUpdate function. So I'll explain doActionUpdate function first and then get back to this method. Basically, we are taking this object. This is model viewer. It means that we take all the data that we have here and then says modify it. If this new does not exist, it will be created after performing modify action. If this news work existed before, it will update it, and just by taking ID. And then we are specifying that if ID has been passed or we've created a new news, we are going to be redirected to the following page where target equal action, target equal news underscore edit, action will be omitted, and we are passing ID as ID of the news. So it means I'll show you. After we create the news here, we will be redirected to the page similar to this. And this code is for that. Now I believe we can rebuild the cache, and it will finally we will be done with admin area. We will be able to create new news, and we will be able to see list of news on this page. So I'm running cache rebuild, and as you can see, you can run cache rebuild simply by removing bar run folder. And I'm ready to answer several questions while cache rebuild is running. Senia?
Yes, we have received lots of questions. Just let me please find them. We received several questions about rebuilding cache again, which looks annoying. And
about cache rebuilding process, I think we need to discuss it. I mean, this is the topic to exchange opinions. And first of all, to be honest, I understand that at first it might be annoying to rebuild cache every time. And when I came to XCart 5 team, it was annoying for me, and I was complaining about it. But when I started writing modules, real modules, I realized that XCart 5 structure is very logical, and you do not need to rebuild cache that often. So as you can see, we are not rebuilding cache very often while doing this mod, and it stopped being that annoying. Anyway, I do believe that this is a topic we need to discuss on forums or in comments to the blog post in order to decide what to do next. Because this is a topic we are often asked about, and we need to settle it. So, get back to the model. As you can see, our create button now leads us to the page where you can specify news title and main text, and we are creating first news with some text. And we are going to our news page, and as you can see, it's added. You can add something right from the list of news here, and save changes button is saved. You can enable, disable it. You can create second news with text with link, http XCart.com. And everything is working as we need it. And now, now we need to create something in customer storefront, so our buyers will see our news. And we are going to add menu at the bottom. That we are creating a new viewer called news menu. It can be called whatever you want because it's regular viewer. Okay, where I'm just going to close several classes in place because we need them. News menu. As you can see, this viewer is pretty simple. It just defines what header will be displayed there. I'll show you. For instance, categories is the header. In our menu box, it will be news. And we are defining where template for this viewer is stored. It will be stored in customer in default Jan modules Tony news menu. I'm going to create this template right now. Since before we were editing admin templates, they are not available in customer areas. In order to create customer templates, we need to create them in default folder. So we are going to folder news, Tony news. Next, also news. Menu body. Menu. News. Menu body. Body EPL. View the following content. Yeah. What this code means? Simply saying we are checking whether we have any news, and if we does, we are creating UL element with LI elements, and simply walking through all newses and adding links to it. If no news exists, it means that we are displaying no news added message. As you can see, we are building an URL here. It means that the target, that each news will lead us to a page called PHP target news ID equal 1. And it's specified target equal news, action is empty, so action is omitted, and news ID is equal row ID. Sorry, target news like this, news ID. Yeah. This is good, but we don't have a get news method defined anywhere, so we need to create it. And we can create it in our controller or in our viewer. A viewer for this page is this, but controller for this page is target equal main. So it's simply easier to add this get news method into our viewer. So we are creating it. We are creating method get news, and it just gets every single news by running find all method and return it. Now we can rebuild the cache. and it will display a menu here, where the header will be news, and every single news will be linked to news details page. So we are running dashboard, and I'm ready to answer several questions. Senia? 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 Looks like Senia is not there. Oh.
Disabling the mic, not to disturb you during.
Ksenia, I'm not quite hear you, to be honest.
Can you hear me now, Tony?
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I was just disabling my mic, not to disturb you during the presentation. Now questions. I'm opening them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't run the cache process.
Another question from Kerry. Is there a reason that events were not used in the code? For a new rewrite like this, we would have expected to see some events so that other modules could hook into the code easier.
About events, this is quite interesting. Basically, I believe that Kerry means that event is some call to a controller. I mean, for instance, if event happens, there is a request to some target, and in this case, you can catch this call to the controller and do something. In that sense, XCart 5 can decorate the controller. For instance, the controller of target main means, your model can decorate controller main and put your own code to run the process you need. And you can do it inside your model. For instance, I'll show you an example of how it can be achieved. For instance, I can create a controller folder customer, then new file main PHP, it's not manifest, and then hook into action update, for instance. So if customer called target main action equal update, then I create inside my model, I can create the method do action update. I'm just scheming the code, it's not working code. Do action update, then call the parent do action update. So the initial code will be run, and then do my own thing. And in this sense, our model will be hooked into the processing of default controllers. Okay, now there is a final part of creating the news model. Once I'm done with it, I'll be able to answer more questions and explain something in more details. So we are refreshing the page, and as you can see, news menu is here, and it's each link goes to page target equal news, but this page does not exist yet, so it will produce an error. But anyway, our menu already has entities with titles of our news, and we need to do final thing, create this page. I'll do and define this page to display the body of our news. So what I'm going to do is create a page by micro. As you can see, it's very similar to we've already done, but interface is customer. So I'm writing the macro. It created the same 3 files: installer, viewer, and template. Template will be pretty simple. So we are going to Tony News, page news, body TPL, and placing code here. This method, getNewsBody, should return the body of our news and display it on this page. And H modifier means that we should not process characters like lesser or greater in order to allow HTML code work as it intended. But this getNewsBody method does not exist yet, so we are going to create it and put it into our controller. As I said before, you can put it into the viewer or into the controller. It doesn't really make any difference. Yeah, I'm going to delete this file because it's not actual PHP code. Let's see. This method, getNewsBody, just takes ID of the news. Then, if it's not null and if we can find it, then we are putting it into the return variable and then return it. By default, return variable doesn't have any value, so you can assign it. For instance, if you cannot find the news, you can specify like no news specified, right? And that's it. This is pretty simple piece of code. So we simply put this method into the template and define this method here. And I'm going to run cache build right now. And there we go. Okay, now I'm ready for some quick question, and then we'll go to the extended question and answers section.
The question is, how can we easily debug our code?
Oh.
The question is from
this is really interesting. I prepared a presentation for our support team about how to easily debug XCart 5. And I should probably translate it and publish it somewhere, so you can check it out. But the main thing you need to know is that you should debug code into the var run folder. So not into the not in the classes. You should go into the var run folder, classes, and place your debug code there, because this is the code which is actually run. This is the main advice for debugging XCart 5. The more advanced techniques of debugging XCart 5, I think I'll prepare this doc during a week or two and then push it on forums so you can learn it. And we're checking what we've got. So we are going to this page, and it displays this some text. For second use, it's the text with the link, and link is working. But we can go to the page of news that does not exist, for instance, and it displays no new specified. So we are done with the model. It does everything we planned. Admin can create news, and admin can can create news on this page, the news, text. Then you can see all these news at once. You can edit its title right there. Besides that, a news menu is displayed in customer storefront, and you can see it's available everywhere. Like, cleaner else is not enabled on my server. But okay, let's go to some category page. And news is here, and if you click on any news, you can see details of this news there. And one good thing about storing modules, as I said, is that you can simply bucket and install it on any other XCart file.
Tony, you have some problem with the sound. Could you please check the mic?
I'm sorry, can you hear me right now?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's good. Okay, as I said, you can simply pack this module into the archive and transfer it to any other XCart 5 store with no hassle. Basically, in order to install this model, you will have to just do this. This model will not be installed because it already exists, but yeah, I think you got the idea. Now we are done with this model, and I'm ready to answer questions.
Just a question. Just a second, I'm opening the questions. Is there an easy way to determine, for example, when creating themes, the proper PL, template file, to modify for a given page section? It's very challenging sometimes to see what the correct PL I need to change. Question from Mark.
I got the question. Yes, this is a problem, and in order to solve it, we are going to publish our development module with instruction of how to use it. It will work kind of the same as Webmaster Mod in XCart 4. So we are going to publish it in a couple of weeks, and then you will be able to check it out. Xenia?
The next question from Elvir. What does developer mode equal on parameter does in etc/config.php? Does it help to skip cache rebuild process?
I'm not really sure. Xenia, can you send me the this question via Skype?
Yes, just a second. Have you got it?
Yeah. I understand that you guys that this is annoying. This is. Yeah. Okay. Okay. This mode, developer mode equal on in etc config means that XCart 5 can log a lot of information, a lot of useful information for the development process. Besides that, these schemes cache rebuilding will be on fly. It means that you will not need to rebuild cache for design changes, but it will not it will not allow you to disable the cache rebuild process for PHP changes.
Are you ready to answer the next question?
As for makers, it's publicly available on GitHub. It's there, and I'm simply having it in next SDK. Sorry. So it is there. Yeah. Next SDK, you can clone it to your machine and use it. Moreover, as I know, each maker has the help section right into the script, and you can check how exactly you can use it. Finally, I want to prepare the thorough explanation of what you can do with makers and put it into our knowledge base. I've already started this task, but only several makers are covered. So check back for updates. Our knowledge base is here. Developer docs, and there you can find a lot of useful information about makers and other development things. Yeah.
And following your question about your answer about documentation, is there a detailed document that outlines development and XCart 5 framework in detail?
Can you please send it to me, XCart?
Yes, sure.
Well, this link is basically all developer docs we have, but it doesn't mean that we are not going to update it or add something if our developers need it. So if you feel that something is not covered or something needs to be explained in more details, please send us feedback at alliance.xcart.com there. So we would know what our developers need, and we will be happy to add some articles.
Tony, the next question is about developing a module which uses some other non-default module from perception system. By the way, to advertise the company, they have developed a free version for XCart 5, fresh green, so please check and try it. But our question is our developing module. I'm just going to read the question.
Okay. This is the question. My question. Okay, I got it. It's the question from Tarang. Yeah.
Yes, but would you like to?
Okay. If our developing. Okay, I got it. If our developing model depends or using some functionality data on other non-default model, how we can check other model already installed exists if it's not installed? You can check it. For instance, I need to send you the exact code, I believe. Well, I will give you a short answer that yes, you can check, but in order to give you exact code, I'll just need to prepare it and then send it. So I'll just postpone this question and answer. I'll give the exact code after the webinar is over. I'll just send it. Tanya?
Next question from Raza. How do we disable cache in XCart 5?
As I said, unfortunately, you cannot disable the cache because the cache. I'll give you an idea. When we are writing the code, we basically create a scheme of how our store will work. And once we decide how our store will create. We just created a scheme of our store functionality. We are running the cache rebuilding process in order to run this whole store. You can think of it like compiling process in Java, for instance. When you are writing the code, and then you are writing the compiling process in order to get the binary which will be actually run. It allows to it allows to optimize the process. It allows to solve conflicts and a lot more. It's just better than running the code that just created. That's why we need cache rebuilding process. Senior?
Thank you, Tony. One of our attentive listeners, Richard, reported a bug. The news listing is not showing the news first in your view model, Tony. So after 10 items, you will be seeing the same first item list.
Yeah, okay, but I got it. In this case, you simply need to sorry, items list model. Yes, we need to adjust it, so it will okay, I got it. I'll show you the exact code after the webinar, which will implement this this change.
Thank you, Tony. We also reported 10 bugs in the bug tracker from version 5.0.11, but they were not included in version 5.0.12, which was a quick release. And Richard asks if there's some plan in the next major version to get these fixed. He does not mention which exactly bugs he reported, but the question is when these bugs will be fixed.
We are trying to solve as many bugs as possible, and yes, we will try to solve as much as possible for the next major release. But to be honest, I'm not really sure whether we will be focusing on bugs in next major release. However, after major release came out, we usually tend to take 1 or 2 releases just for bugs. We are not implementing new features during them, and simply fixing bugs, and so on and so forth. So, answering your question, I cannot promise that we will fix them in next major release, but I do believe that we will fix them during release after next major one. So it will be in 5.11 or 5.12.
And since you are talking about major release, the next question from Richard is when will XCart 5.1.0 be released?
We are expecting to release it in May.
Can you confirm any major features it will contain?
Senior? Yeah.
Tony, can you hear me? Have you heard of 5.1?
Well, usually we release a minor release during a month, but I cannot just promise. If I know if I say that we will release it on June, everybody will expect it on June, but I cannot promise. Anyway, you can expect it on June or July. By July, we will definitely release it.
He also asked about major features it contains. So I guess you should show where to find the roadmap for XCart 5.
Yeah, we've got a roadmap. It's XCart.com roadmap. It may not easy to find it through navigation because it's in the helps and docs. You are going to go to the help and docs section there through menu, and you can find roadmap there. Stay informed about what we are working on. And here's our roadmap. You can check it out. Ksenia?
I have next question to Skype, but I will voice it now. The question is from Kerry Sanders again. What if I want to add a feature to the product modify page? How do I add a new field to store without modifying core code? For example, if they wish to store the cost for a product.
Okay, I got the question. In this case, you need to decorate this page. For instance, if some other module will work with our news module, and it wants to add something here. Something here. This new module will create a viewer FormModelNews. ModelNews, and decorate this class. So this code will be similar, similar to class news extends XLite ViewModel. No, it will be extends XLite module Tony news view model implements XLite base decorator. And then you are specifying that schema default there must be taken from the parent. So we are defining new method get schema default method function. And calling something like schema parent get schema default, and then adding something here, schema I call parent plus array, and code similar to this. Besides that, your model will also extend XLite model Tony news model news in order to update the whole news model, and it will okay. So first is it there will be date array. So the whole point here is that you are, in your model, you are creating the same structure of folders and then extending the current functionality of other model. That's it.
Tony, the next question about REST API module in XCart 5. Can we modify the REST API in XCart 5 on our own?
Yeah, sure. The same as other model. You can modify it the same way as I described here, but in this case, you will need to decorate XLite module XCart REST API and object you want to decorate. So in that sense, you can totally change the rest of the model. Ksenia?
We have received another good idea from Richard. He asks, would you consider running a weekly or monthly webinar where it can be used as questions and answers forum type, where store owners and developers can ask questions and provide questions where store owners can enter discussion to achieve a faster response and more engagement? So the question is about future webinars planned.
I don't mind to run extra webinars, and we can totally do it. However, I would start with discussions on forum because when it comes to explaining some code, it's better to write this code. You need to think about it and post some thorough reply. So I would suggest to start these discussions on forums, but if we all feel that a new webinar is needed, we can totally arrange it, no problem.
Also, Tony, as I can see, your XCart store uses version 5.011, but when we were announcing the webinar, you said that we are going to demonstrate how easy it is to upgrade the customized store.
Okay, this is tricky part. I haven't tested it, but I'll do it right now. I'm just going to upgrade the store. I hope it will work.
Let's check.
So, yeah, while I'm upgrading the store, you can ask some other questions.
I haven't received any questions related to development. We do have some questions about features, about data export and import, but I suppose we should answer them privately, not via this webinar.
Okay, this is totally okay. Also, guys, I really want to get your feedback about webinar, what you like, especially about what you didn't like, and you can safely send it at alliance@xcart.com. I'll get these messages. Besides that, you can reach me out on forums. My name is Tony Slagilov. And the link to my profile is in our blog post. That's it. Thank you guys for joining. It was really nice to do webinar for you, and I really want to get your feedback.
Thank you, guys. See you next time. And this video will be uploaded to our YouTube channel and also published in XCart blog. But if you have any questions left, please share them. We will answer them. At least we will do our best to. So thank you for your time and have a good day, guys.
Ksenia, if you don't mind, can we wait for our upgrade to finish? I believe everybody is. Ksenia?
I'm just checking my email, looking for new questions. Okay, let's read one right from the chat. Forum is for purchased users only. How a developer can get access to forum, Mohammed asks.
If you've got at least one license, you have the full access to the forum. Besides that, we are going to change permissions on forums, so even pre-sales clients will be able to get access to previously hidden sections. As I know, our current clients have access to tech support and considering XCart forums, and you can ask your questions there. Anyway, as I said, we're going to adjust permissions, so pre-sales clients will be able to have more access than they have now. So I'm really excited about what we're going to have.
Tony, there is also a question about product export and import via CFile in XCart 5.
Okay.
It looks like this import was edited into one of XCart 5 versions. Please confirm or was it included? Data export and import.
I'm sorry. Can you send me the question by Skype?
Okay, I'm sending you.
sorry, I didn't get the question. If you're asking whether you can import-export product attributes via CSV file, yes, you can. And yes, what our XCart is updated, and as you can see, model keeps working. We can create bulk news, new text there. I'm really happy. Upgrade went okay. Because honestly, I didn't test it. And there we go. Yes, it works. Even after upgrade, I didn't change anything. Okay, Ksenia, if we don't have questions at the moment, I think we can finish the webinar. Thank you guys again for coming today and finding time.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.